Yo, this Music is a Day Job, and I'm your host, Sean. Now, Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Concert App. The Concert App is an artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour, gives the fan the best experience in independent shows. Okay, I messed that up, but you guys get it. Today, what we're going to talk about is fake streams making it impossible for independents to earn money and be successful. And a lot of people don't pay attention to this, but you should be paying attention to this, because what's happening is this. When you see all these big artists, and see, we just let it slide. And one thing is, even though I'm not a big fan of Drake, and I'm not a big fan of him being like, I guess you can say because of this beef, he wants to sue. But if he was to really get this over and they had to stop the fake streams and the labels, if that was to happen, and the labels would have to stop being in cahoots to make these fake streams happen for these artists and these fake situations, it would help you. So the reason why this happens is if I build all these fake streams and I make someone look a certain way, the first spot where this hurts you is if this person has 10 billion streams, you of course don't look comparative to them. So now into the consumer's mind, they naturally will go like, oh, this person is as popping as that person. So what they're doing is they're separating a landscape, even in the fake stream realm, to be like, you're not comparative to what these people are. Now, that hurts you, as I said, because the consumer looks and sees that this person's more popping than you. And then that makes them want to listen to them or think that they're more serious than you are. Now, knowing that with the money that they have, they're basically making these streams look this way. So they're basically saying you don't have the money. So they're basically playing big bank, take little bank with all the independent artists, because they're saying, hey, we can make this person look like this. And it is what it is, because if you have all the platforms and you have all the media outlets, that's what's going to naturally happen, because you're going to play that game. Where it's messed up is that you can pay and own part of these companies that you can do this with. So just to say, like, for instance, because these platforms now they're ways for independent artists to get known. You can get known and get popping, but there's still a wall, because what they're going to do is just naturally money it out, and they're going to pay to make the algorithm work the way it needs to work, which they're going to put their people on all the nice playlists. They're going to make sure all this happens, and that's what the label is doing. So where I feel like artists have a chance, and where you have a chance with this, is, as I said, shows. And that's why I built Concert, and we're going to get to that in a second. But the other piece of these fake streams that makes it hard for you to earn money is this. If I understand that I can cut, as I said, down to 0.003 of a cent per play or whatever it is, then I understand how many plays have to happen for someone to make consistent money. If I'm an owner of these streaming companies or whatever like that, then I know what I need to make. So then I know what needs to be hit, because I'm going to make this amount. I know how much I'm going to pay out each artist and say is recoupable and what isn't recoupable. So then I'm going to basically control this to the point that the independent artist that's trying to make money is going to fail every time, because the amounts that they need to hit for them to make consistent money is almost impossible to hit if you don't have money behind you. So all in all, basically what they're saying is it's impossible for you to get to that next point without anything. So it's like the 1 in a million or whatnot. Now, I do know people with some nice, decent streams, but I don't know anyone that has nice, decent streams to the point where they are rich off of it. I know people who have decent streams that's like, oh, you make some decent money off of it and you figured out something. Like, I know a guy who just has tons of he knew how to make tons of songs, and he knew that these people were going to listen to it 10,000 times. Like, he had like basically like 10,000 fans that are going to listen to each of his songs, or 1,000 to 10,000 people they're going to listen to each of his songs, and he's just pumping out material. at a high rate to the point that he knows that, hey, if this many songs hit this many times a month, and he's just playing with the algorithm to understand how much he needs to make. However, where you get the opportunity to win is, as I always tell artists, this is why it's important to have your own fan base and build with concert and start getting on shows and start doing shows so you can start building that fan base, is because the one thing that can't really be stopped is the in-person organic growth. And now when you think about the amount of money you can make, like let's say, like for instance, even with my formula, let's say at 150 fans, you're worth $1,000 a night. 150 people making $1,000. If you got 150 plays, it ain't doing nothing. You get 150 plays every week and you ain't seeing nothing. So then you have to look at finding 150 actual fans that'll come see you. And yes, you can only perform so many times in a year, but you got to look at the difference in that rate of saying, hey, well, every time I know I can bring in 150 fans, I make $1,000. So then how many times do I need to bring 150 people in? If I want to make $5,000 this month, I got to do it 5 times. So that means 5 nights I'm going to work. You see what I'm saying? If that's what I'm saying. Now, if I'm saying I need to make 10 bands, then I'm saying that I have to do it 10 times. Or get more fans. And let's say you get to 200, let's say you get to 250. So let's say you're worth 2,000. And then you just do the math. And that could be one night if you can bring 250 in a night. And that's 2,000. Now see, that's the only thing that can even out this playing field, because the labels can't do that. They can't guarantee that much for an artist, because what happens is they still have to recoup what they put to front to make the streams pop and all that money. So then they can't afford to do that for you. They can't say, hey, if you have 150 people, I'll give you $1,000. They can't say that, because it doesn't work like that, because they're going to front tons of money and then they need to recoup at a rate that's crazy. So it's like, hey, you're going to end up having to have this many streams, have this many shows and everything like that to recoup this amount of money, which you probably spent on looking cool and the producers that you had to get, the name brand producers, the name brand features, and do it at a name brand studio and mix it with a name brand mixer. And that's where you spent your money. And then they have to recoup it at a rate that's crazy, 300%, 400%. And now you can't fight. However, if you did build your fan base and you understood this, then this is where you compete, because it's impossible for you to do it in streams and compete in streams consistently. Now, there are some dudes that do it. Like you look at like That's Dax and stuff like that, and people like that. And what's the kid out of La Russell and all this stuff. Yes, you have dudes that get to the point where they figure it out and they get to the point where they can make decent money off of these streams. And then, but you see a lot of them do shows. Like you look at La Russell makes a lot of money off shows. So it's one of those things that you can get to a decent point. But then if I was to say, how much do these dudes make off streams comparative to the level of artists that they should be compared to in the industry, and what the industry is making off the streams that they get from that artist, that wouldn't be comparable. So if these independent artists had the same amount of platforms to be on and could be in those platforms, and the algorithm wasn't like bought out and everything like that, then yes, these independent artists would make the same amount of money or more money. However, it didn't work like that. So that's what I'm saying. In shows, you can actually even that playing field, because then you can actually take it to that point where you control your fan base, and then you know how much you need to make. And there is no real cap on that as long as you actually have the fans. And the fans are there because you know you went and got the fans. So you're in full control of that. You don't have to worry about the fake streams and how much money the industry's putting into it, because the industry can't control all these different situations. So definitely start looking into that, because That's what's going to help you get to the point where you're earning consistent money versus having to wait for these streams, because it's basically a rigged game. So once again, this music is a day job, and I'm your host, Sean. It's brought to you by the Concert app. The Concert app now is in tons of different states. If we're in your state, get onto the app, get on to a show, make it happen. If we're not in your state, definitely tell all the artists to get onto the app so we can start expanding to your areas as soon as possible. If you know of any venues, definitely let us know, because that helps us get to do more shows so you can make music into a day job. For the fans, definitely get on the app and start supporting these artists. Support. All artists, fans, download the Concert app now. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Sean, and this is brought to you by the Concert app, and this music is a day job.